Welcome to Relationship Real Talk, Live the Life's podcast. For over 20 years, we've been dedicated to strengthening marriages and families through relationship education. Our core goals are to reduce the Florida divorce rate by 50% by 2029, to increase the marriage rate, and reduce teen pregnancy and out-of-wedlock births. For more information about us, you can visit us at livethelife.org. Hey everybody, welcome back to Relationship Real Talk. We're really excited to have you here. We actually have a surprise guest, a special guest. We have
never before seen.
So exciting, the Mr. Cameron Briggs, my husband. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about newlyweds, which of course we are.
Tis we are.
Oh, that was a new word. That's exciting.
I'm going Old English for this one.
Oh, yes. Anywho, so yeah, we've been married for what, like 8 months?
8 months.
Yeah. So we're still in that first year, still kind of working through.
Learning a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Learning a lot about each other, about ourselves, about marriage,
Absolutely.
how we function.
Yeah. So why don't we just go dive in, talk about what the first year or first 8 months has been like for us. So I want you to give me like 3 words you would use to describe our first year of marriage so far.
Okay. Fun, challenging, growth.
Interesting. Okay. So
Those are 3 words.
Which one would you like to expand on?
I would say, I feel like I could expand on them all. Obviously, it's fun because it's fun doing life with someone you love a lot. Just experiencing everything, doing things together, going on trips. All it's a lot of fun. And there are moments where it definitely cannot be as fun as others, like, because there are moments that get very, very challenging when you're not on the same page, when you feel like this person's out to get you for some reason and you letting the enemy just talk to you. Challenging. It doesn't always have to be bad challenges though either. Like, and I think that's what goes into the third word that I said of growth is I feel like you and I have grown so much these past 8 months. I've been growing for a long time in my relationship with you because you are constantly also challenging me to be a better man. So yeah, I would say growth just because 8 months ago, even 2 months ago, a month ago, I'm not the same person. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's definitely growth.
Yeah. So that was all of them that you expanded on.
Yeah, and I wanted to expand on all of them because that's who I am. So
yeah.
I like talking.
Why write a short story when you can write a long one?
Exactly.
You get
Shout out Brando Sando.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, so first year of marriage, it's been challenging. It's been fun. It's been a growing experience. I will say one of the things that I did kind of want to touch on with this episode is I think in today's culture, there's a lot of emphasis on finding the one. And so I kind of wanted to talk about when it came to deciding, okay, I want to marry this person, I want to be with them for the rest of my life. How did you know? And I kind of have like a devil's advocate view on this. But anyhow, what was your process to getting to that place?
The process, it was definitely me thinking, okay, first thinking, do I see myself living with this person for the rest of my life? Because the rest of my life is a very long time. I'm pretty young. You're also young, so shush. But the rest of my life, that's a long time. I'm only 24. When we got married, I was 23. So
and next year you'll be 25.
This year.
Well, I mean, you get it, but whatever.
Yeah. It's difficult to, because I feel like in my generation specifically, people don't want to commit to something that takes longer than a couple years. Like my generation, I feel like is always going from job to job. Like I want to experience new things. They're like, I don't want to feel tied down to a certain area. I don't want to feel tied down to a certain person. I want to live my life the way I want to live it, and that's just the way it's gonna have to go. So definitely thinking, okay, like, do I want to spend the rest of my life with this person? And the answer is yes, obviously. That's why we're
Mm-hmm.
married.
Yeah.
Um, be awkward to say on the podcast, like, I still don't
Uh,
know.
Fingers crossed.
Um, so definitely thinking like that, but also thinking, okay, because for me, there are moments where it's like, I don't want to say like you need to meet requirements,
Yeah.
but you need to meet requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you kind? Do you love God? Do you love others? Do you love my family? Do you and I get along together? Do we like common interests?
Mm-hmm.
And all those answers are yes. Like, yes, you get along. You love my family. I love your family. We both love Jesus. We both have very common interests that we love doing together. And I'm also a very
Mm-hmm.
sports guy, and you love playing sports too.
Yeah.
So all that mattered a lot to it. But I think I know where you're gonna go with the whole devil's advocate, and
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you that
Yeah.
I don't believe in the one.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
To say that you are the only person out there for me
Right.
is a lie.
Right.
Uh, Obviously, am I currently out there looking for another woman that meets those requirements? No, I'm not. I have found the one that I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, knock on wood, if something happens to either of us in 5 years, to say that, like, that's it, that was your one marriage, like, that
Right.
was your the one, there's no one else out there for you.
Yeah.
That's not true. I don't believe in that. I believe that if something were to happen to me, that there's someone else out there for you. If I believe if something happens to you, that there's someone out there for me as well. Like, you and I can get remarried and stuff like that. Obviously, if I die, I hope for a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, like a little mourning period.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll
I
definitely be wearing black for like a week.
at least,
Yeah.
I need at least a picture on the mantle. Like,
Ooh, that could get awkward.
yeah. Well, you can put it down
Oh,
when like company comes, I guess.
that's so kind of you to allow that.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You know me.
Well, yeah, and exactly like what you're saying, I think that's actually probably the biggest lie that society believes right now is that there is one person that will meet all my needs, that will make me feel like this is the right choice. And I think that's the most detrimental thing to our society relationally right now, just because if you think about it, like we were just talking about this the other day, how Tinder and Bumble and all these dating apps have created like this thought that there's always going to be someone else I can swipe on.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone that is maybe a little cuter or maybe a little funnier or maybe a little smarter. And like, if I could just get to that person that's leveled up from every other person I've been with, then I'll be happy. But I think what we're forgetting is like the whole point to me of marriage is not about finding the one, but finding the one that I can say yes to every single day. And what I mean by that is like as we've been married, like it's not like every day I wake up and I'm just like, wow, Cameron is the one for me. Like,
What?
he's just the bee's knees. Like, there are days that it's really hard and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, ugh. And
Yeah.
my selfishness, like, just wants to be like, why can't he just like bring me breakfast in bed and make me coffee and like do all the dishes and do all the laundry and like I could just live this carefree life. But that's
Yeah.
so unrealistic. And when I get to that selfishness and that fleshly part of myself, I've got to go back to no, like I chose this person. And I will continue to choose this person regardless of how I feel because my feelings are fleeting. My feelings are momentary. Like, I mean, I'm sure you ladies know and you men know as well. There can be one moment where I'm watching a movie, I'm hysterically laughing, and then 2 minutes later, I'm crying my eyes out,
Yeah.
up, you know? So, like, that emotional roller coaster, we're going to base the rest of our life and our commitment level on something as fickle as feelings. I think that's where we've really messed up as a society, allowing dating apps and that kind of stuff to dictate, well, there's another option, there's someone else will be able to do that. And I just think You know, obviously, like you said, I love the thing about standards. Like, there are standards, and you absolutely should have standards, and you absolutely should not buckle on those standards. There are red flags, and you absolutely should not let certain red flags enter into like a sacred relational space. But we're all human.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that there's going to be flaws in every single person. And I tell this to my family all the time. Like, if you're looking for the one, it's Jesus.
Yeah.
He's the only one that was perfect. He's the only one that's never going to sin against you. He's the only one that's always going to keep you at the forefront of his mind. He's going to die for you. He's going to love you unconditionally. Like, that is the one.
Yeah.
So every other human being is going to fall short of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool how, like, our human fleshly hearts, we long for the one. We long to find that one, but what we were created for was to find that in Jesus.
We think the one is going to be
right, a human being.
A human being.
But we're created to find that in Jesus and then have someone else to come along and do life with. And I tell you all the time, like, marriage is a mirror of the Trinity and of what God did for us. Like, whenever something is happening between us, like, it's my job to show you the love of God. And it's not my job to come back at you with fleshly responses or whatever. And especially, like, if you're upset, it's not my job to, like, try and fix you. It's my job to remind you of who God says you are. Just like we're the bride of Christ and he loves us that way. Like, that's what marriage is supposed to be a picture of. Obviously, as humans, we get that wrong a lot. But, like, it's just, this world is obviously very hungry for Christ. And that's how I think the one comes out of.
Yeah. And I definitely think you hit it on the head when you were talking about, like, there's going to be morning for you and me. There's mornings where we wake up and we're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not feeling it right now. And there are moments where we wake up and we're like, I feel nothing but love for this person next to me.
Snuggle.
Yeah, it's definitely this one.
Okay.
I'm not a morning person. Yeah. And this one likes to poke me in the bed and be like, hey, how are you?
Yeah. No apologies.
And I think I watched a video, Brene Brown talking about it, where it's like, it's not 50-50. Right. Like, sometimes it's 80-20. Sometimes it's 30-30. Sometimes it's 0-0. Sometimes it's 100-100. Yeah. Like, that's just how it is. Like, and we gotta be like, it's having that level of communication with where we're at of like, hey, and like, I feel like I've started to do that better. Where like, I don't just leave you guessing if I'm in a weird mood. I tell you, like, hey, like, I'm just, like, yesterday I walked up to you. I said, hey, I just feel sad for some reason. I just feel sad. Yeah. I'll walk up to you and be like, I feel like I'm just in a weird mood. And I've learned now that, like, those weird moods is usually attached to anxiety that I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. So it's me trying to figure out in the moments, like, what am I feeling anxious about? But yeah, I would say definitely understanding that marriage is definitely waking up and saying, I still choose you. I still choose you. I still choose to lay my life down for you. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So as we've been going through these 8 months, we've been married. So exciting. What's been the biggest thing to surprise you about being married?
Probably how little I know myself.
Oh, what do you mean?
There's things that happen in our marriage and I react and I'm like, why am I doing this right now?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't know me. I've learned more and more that, like, I think Ashley has a better understanding sometimes of how I work than how I work. Yeah, I'm just learning what, like, emotional triggers are for me and learning that, like, hey, this makes me upset. This makes me happy. This makes me sad. This makes me joyous. And learning how I've also learned how easily the switch can get flipped for me. Like, I could be in a super good mood.
Yeah.
And then if I go to screw something in a wall and something goes wrong for 0.2 seconds, I want to punch a hole through the wall. Like, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just definitely say, like, I don't know myself as much as I thought I did. So marriage has definitely been a growing experience for me to learn you and for me to learn me as well.
Yeah. And I think definitely something to that point is when you're in a healthy marriage, I'm not saying, I don't even believe that a perfect marriage exists, but I think healthy marriages exist. And in a healthy marriage, if it's safe for you to be able to show emotions like sadness and, anxiety and worry, and like if it's actually safe for you to come to me with that, then you're actually able to explore rather than hide. And I
Yeah.
think that might be why you didn't know yourself as well before, because in the past, like, it may not have been safe for you to explore those emotions and think about why. But knowing that, like, if you come to me with that, I'm not going to be like, oh, there's something wrong with you and I can't believe you would be anxious about that, or I can't believe
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. But I'm like, okay, like, that's okay, that's totally understandable, like, it's understandable that that hurt you, like.
And you're just as curious as I am.
Yeah,
You're like, I want to know
exactly.
how your mind's working right now.
Right. And so, like, creating that healthy space, which obviously I don't do that 100% of the time, but like prioritizing that and like being in the right headspace for it, I
Yeah.
think is like super, super healthy if you can do that. I think the thing that surprised me the most, I think it's honestly the mental load. Like, I didn't even realize what that was until TikTok blew me up
I didn't know
with
what it
it.
was either.
Yeah. But I was watching videos obviously about the mental load, and I was like, I have never
Well,
felt
explain what the mental load is
more.
for people that don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I'm going to.
Por favor,
Um
sorry.
but so as I'm watching these videos about the mental load, it's basically when there are two people in a relationship, there's usually one person that's better about planning, organizing, seeing things that need to be done, getting them done. And yeah, and they're usually like the the orchestrator of the relationship. Like, if you have two non-mental loaders in the relationship, you might just be sitting around like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know what you want to do. And then there's, laundry everywhere. Well, we'll do it tomorrow, or we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. Or just walk past it every single day and there's trash piling up and the bed never gets made. And so realizing like that the mental load is not meant to be actually burdened by one person, but should be carried by both people. And like actually being able to have a conversation with you, being like, hey, when you see laundry on the floor, it's it's mental energy for me to have to say, hey, Cameron, will you pick this up and will you put it away? Like, even though I appreciate you doing it when I ask, having to ask is energy that I want to be able to spend somewhere else rather than being the manager of the things that need to get done. And so it's been really cool to like come home and like you're like doing the dishes and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you heard me about seeing something and doing something, and having that be something that I can now release, because it's a lot of pressure for me. I keep running to-do lists and I have like all of these things that I need to check off during the day, and knowing that like those things around the house are something that we're both sharing is just something that I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't have to ask you to do it. Like, you now see it and you can do it. And that's been something that's been really educational for me, and something that's been like very helpful to me to learn about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely opened my eyes more of like, okay. Like I didn't know what a mental load was.
Yeah.
And so learning that as well with you and thinking to myself like, okay, like this is how Ashley's feeling. And the way I always think of this, I think I'm pretty sure I first heard Richard say it, where it's like, I want to do this for you because I don't want any other man doing this for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the dishes because I don't want anyone else doing the dishes for my wife. I don't want anyone else, like the same
Yeah.
way it's like I don't want someone else holding the door open for my wife. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want someone else holding my wife's hand. I don't want anyone else kissing my wife. Like I don't want anyone else serving my wife. Like I'm not trying to like gatekeep serving you. Obviously, I want people to do so for you. I don't want to
Yeah.
sound like
Yeah.
super just toxic right now. I
No.
just want to be, I guess, the main beneficiary.
Right.
Like I want to be the person that gives you the most of that.
Yeah.
And to where if you see, and it helps as well because it makes things feel more equal too. Like
Mm-hmm.
up until last night, I think I was doing dishes every single night for like the 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
nights. And so now correct me if I'm wrong, but now it's like, okay, like, so Ashley washed some dishes last night while I went to the bathroom, which I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate. And I told
Mm-hmm.
you I really appreciate it.